We're dropping the bass over here.
Hey, that's what we do.
Dropping the bass early on.
Getting everybody's attention here at the Brewhouse
Absolutely.
Cafe.
Absolutely. Well, welcome back to our live reaction of the FIFA World Cup draw here on the SDH network. Madison and Cruz here alongside Jason Longstreet. You might know him as one of the voices of Atlanta United as we get set and react to what happened in the World Cup draw. And I think for me, I can safely say that there was a lot of matchups that I was not anticipating, especially when it came to the drawing of these groups. But there are some fun ones. When you look at our little board over here, you can't see it from over here, but we have a nice little Brewhouse board over here with everything on the bracketology. But there's some fun groups.
Yeah, there's some really interesting groups. Like, we were going through the whole time worried about a group of death and what that could look like. And I don't feel like we got any group that was as bad as it possibly could have been. There's some groups that are tough, but there's not a really brutal group for any of the favorites. Group L with England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama, not easy. Drew Dickinson's going to join here in just a little bit to talk about things from an England perspective. We're going to get a German perspective from our friend Johannes Schneider here in just a little bit, with Germany drawing, I think, a very favorable group with Curacao, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ecuador. Mexico's group, I think the hosts all did pretty well with their groups. Mexico's group, Mexico should get out of that group. Canada has an opportunity to get out of their group. The U.S. should absolutely get out of their group. There's not any favorite out of pot one that, to me, is in real peril. Now, you identified Group I
did
as the one that could be the toughest for France, who I think is a favorite to win the whole thing.
I agree. And you look at Group I, you obviously have one of the play-in as I3, but for me, it's France, Senegal, and Norway. I think Norway has been on fire. Erling Haaland is someone that I think has been breaking through. I think Norway is a really tough team. Really, I think I got to a point where we all were chanting, figuring out who was going to get Norway. Hopefully, it wasn't going to be in the USA group.
Yeah.
It didn't, thank goodness. But for me, it's that one is the one to watch, especially when you find out who's going to be in that play-in game, especially competing there.
It's Iraq, it's Bolivia, it's Suriname. I think any of those are going to be the tough one. Remember, look, you're going to get 8 third-place teams that will go into the knockout. So when you look at that group, if you're France, you're Senegal, you're Norway, you don't like the group, but you're going to get a win more than likely. Sorry, Iraq, Bolivia, Suriname, whoever comes out of that pot. The other 3 teams should win that game.
Yeah.
So if you win a game in the World Cup because of 8 third-place teams going through, if you win 1, 3 points should get you into the knockout round of 32.
But I also think too, just with the matchup that you see as well, you have the rematch of France and Senegal.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why it's highlighted. And then Norway too. I think they're a really underrated team that might not fly under the radar, but it's a team that's breaking through that a lot of people are scared of, especially heading into the World Cup.
Now what it does is France will get out of the group, but France might not win the group. And then you get thrown into a tougher part of the draw. That's where things get interesting. In this World Cup, to me, in the past, we had a lot of drama about getting out of the group, the 2-3 fight.
Yeah.
Now, third-place teams are going to go through more often than not. It's going to be more of, did you drop a game and did you come in second in your group? And now you've got a tougher road to get through. Because remember, this is all split up. So if things are chalk in this tournament, if it is Spain and Argentina winning every game, they'll meet in the final. They separated the top 4 seeds, which is good. It allows you to not be, at the mercy of what Shaquille O'Neal draws out of pot 2. It allows you to actually have what could be the best final. Shaq didn't murder anybody in this tournament. There was a lot of concern about Shaq
there was a lot
really
of social
crushing
media,
somebody.
A lot of social media posts about
Shaq might not be a favorite in Brazil, putting Morocco into Group C, but the rest of that group, Haiti and Scotland, Brazil and Morocco, feel pretty good about getting wins there.
Well, I'll ask you, what did you make, especially as you look at some of these groups? And I'll go ahead and shout one out for you. Okay. Group D. Let's talk about that one.
Let's talk about the U.S.
U.S. men's national team. They are D1. You have Paraguay, you have Australia, and then you have one of the playing games too for 4. You have the UEFA Path C for that one.
You got the UEFA path that is the most comfortable for the U.S. It's one of Turkey, Slovakia, Kosovo, or Romania. You avoided Denmark. You avoided Poland. You avoided, I think, some Italy potentially. You avoided the dangerous teams out of Europe. You start the U.S. We know their schedule. We'll know the rest of the schedule tomorrow. The U.S. will start the tournament on June 12th against Paraguay at SoFi Stadium in L.A. Game 2 will be against Australia at Lumen Field in Seattle. And then Game 3 will be against the UEFA Path winner back in LA at SoFi. That's pretty good. I think you get, and I think Australia, the weakest to pot 2, according to the FIFA rankings, you get that. But then you get your toughest game, I think, a team that you just saw and you just beat.
Yeah.
You get that first. Mm-hmm. That's good. You get that out of the way. You get 2 games then that you can grow and get better. This is a group that the U.S. can win the group, not just get out of the group. The U.S. can win Group D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you look at other ones. Let's talk about the other host cities, too. You have Group A with Mexico, South Africa, and the Korean Republic. Yep. And you also have a play-in game for that one, too. That one, it's, again, another interesting. You open the World Cup, too, with Mexico versus South Africa there in Mexico. And that's, again, another rematch, too. Another one that's
awesome because it's a rematch of 2010 where South Africa pulled the shocking upset. If you haven't seen the goal from Shabalala scoring for South Africa against Mexico. If I'm South Africa, he's my honorary captain. I'm bringing Shabalala to the Estadio Azteca.
No, it was one, too, when talking to some international players. There's a player at Oklahoma University, Angelo Nkosi.
Yeah.
He's from South Africa. He mentioned that moment. That's his earliest memory from that matchup alone.
I remember where I was when I saw that game. I mean, that was a huge shock. But for Mexico, the rest of that group, they get South Korea, which is not going to be easy. But Mexico should get out of their group. I think they very well could win it. I worry a little bit about South Korea for them. South Korea probably feels really good about the draw. The UEFA team that will go there, according to the rankings, should be Denmark. We'll see if Denmark gets through. Denmark should have won their group. They crashed in the last 2 games. Scotland jumped them. I think Mexico can definitely get out of the group. I would probably lean to South Korea being my favorite to win the group.
Back in, let's talk Canada, Group B.
Yep.
Canada, number 1, UEFA Path A winner. And that one's a difficult one.
That could be Italy.
That one, that could be Italy.
It could be Wales.
Yep.
It could be Bosnia and Herzegovina. It could be Northern Ireland. Mm-hmm. Canada should feel pretty good about this group, honestly. Like Canada and Qatar, Canada should get through Qatar, no problem. Switzerland, that's a tough matchup. Whoever they get out of UEFA, that's probably going to decide Canada's future.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. Is there any other group? So obviously we went through the host cities, went through the U.S. men's national team. Is there any other ones that stick out to you? I mean, hold on. Let's talk about Group H. Group H is the one that you highlighted early on. And it's also one where we might see a couple of those teams come here to Atlanta, and one of them is Spain.
Yeah, we'll know the schedule tomorrow, but Group H has 2 games coming to Atlanta. Spain is the favorite to win the World Cup. They are the seeded team there. I would not be surprised if we see Spain twice at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, their first 2 group games. Game 1 will be there. Game 2 will be there. We'll see how that falls for them. Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay make up the group. Spain is thrilled. That's a very comfortable group for them. The drama is going to be who comes in second. Uruguay is the highest ranked team, but remember, the U.S. beat them 5-1 to the point that Marcelo Bielsa had to have a hour-and-a-half press conference to say he wasn't quitting. Uruguay is a bit of a mess. I'm feeling crazy here. I will make a bold call in Group H that Cape Verde gets out of the group.
Oh?
Cape Verde getting out of the group. That is, if you heard it here first, if that happens.
All right. Okay.
If not, throw things at me next June.
Okay. We'll remember it anyway. Don't worry. We'll clip this and we'll make sure that gets posted for people to know.
Cape Verde gets out of that group. They could. They're really good defensively.
And then we talk about the reigning champions right now in Argentina, obviously leading Group J. That's another one that I think if you're Argentina,
you're thrilled.
You're very, very happy when you look at that group.
You're thrilled. You get Algeria, which I think you can handle pretty well. Austria is going to press. Austria has a really unique style of play. They play that Red Bull pressing. Ralph Rangnick kind of style. So they'll be difficult, but I just don't think they have that top end talent that some other teams do. Dominik Szoboszlai is going to be the one that can turn games for you with Austria. Jordan in their first World Cup should be a comfortable team for Argentina and Austria and Algeria. I think that's a really good fight to see who comes in second in that group. Argentina can coast through the group stage a little bit.
And then Portugal, another interesting one. Portugal, number one, and then obviously you have the other pathway, the Interconfederation playoff. That was with the Congo, Jamaica as well, and then Uzbekistan, and then Colombia too.
All the possibilities where Croatia, Morocco, and Colombia went, and I thought, okay, this could create a group of death scenario. It didn't materialize. So Portugal and Colombia could win that group. Colombia could definitely win that group. We're going to get one game from that group here in Atlanta. Colombia can win that group. I'm not super high on Portugal, but they'll both get through. Mm-hmm. Uzbekistan will be sitting back, parking every bus that Fabio Cannavaro can steal and bring into a stadium. They are going to park all the buses. And whoever comes out of the interconfederational path, DR Congo, Jamaica, New Caledonia, it should be DR Congo. They ended up knocking out Nigeria and Cameroon in the African playoff to get to the stage. They're a good team. They'll compete, but Portugal and Colombia are your top two there. They should be fine.
And we have Group L rounding things out with that one too.
Hold
that one
Group
completely
L
done.
Because Drew Dickinson's going to jump into England on Group L.
We'll hold that one.
We're going to get Jarrett Smith joining here in just a little bit remotely as well to talk about Scotland and other teams. I think just for me to wrap up for a minute, because I have to take off and go talk to Mike Bell and Chris Thomas on 92.9 The Game, because the station is covering the draw all over as well. I'll be over there at 6 o'clock with a recap show for Atlanta Soccer tonight before we head up to Gainesville to see our friends at Nofo Brewing in Gainesville, some around the corner lager waiting for us there. I think this tournament now, nothing really got determined in terms of somebody's going to get knocked out early. Like, I feel like if you're a favorite, you feel pretty good. If you're a host right now, you feel pretty good. If there is a top seed that is in any peril, to me, France to win the group, yes. Portugal to win the group, they're in that spot. And to make the hot tag to Drew, because he's going to have a different opinion, England might not win their group.
Ooh.
And I'm out.
Ooh. As we'll go ahead and switch it, we'll bring in Drew Dickerson to come on in and give us the rundown on everything. As we'll get things rolling over here.
I like the hot tag reference.
We love it. We love it. We'll also bring in Jarrett Smith, too.
Jarrett, what's going on, dude?
Chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing's chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolute chaos. I'm leading this ship. So we'll go ahead and start. We'll bring in Drew. We'll talk about Group L and Jarrett also as well. But we'll toss it to Drew first. Group L. Initially, what do you make of it? It's England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. What's the initial reaction, especially with England being the top, coming in that one? The group that should possibly make it out, go to the next round, but it's not an easy group.
No, Maddie, you're right. I think that before Pot 4 came out, the English fans, the English crowd, everybody was sitting pretty high, being, fairly excited. But you know as well as I do, Ghana in the World Cup, Jarrett, I think you can agree with me as well. They are an absolute powerhouse. When it comes to every 4 years, I feel like Ghana really comes to play. But with that being said, this is a different Ghana team that we've seen since 2010. They're older. They don't have, that superstar that they've had in the past. But to Jason's point, there might be an opportunity. I don't think it's a Croatia or Panama, but there could be an opportunity for Ghana to steal this Group L from England. What do you think?
I think it's possible. It's to your point. They are such a consistently squirrely team to have to deal with. It's not that I don't think England can't win the group. It's that group is just squirrely and it's just weird. Like, look, Croatia is. You're not getting any younger there from where you were, 4 to 8 years ago. Ghana's not what it was, but they're just consistently good. And then we've seen this before in CONCACAF. Panama can just be miserable to play against. And they will just pick the worst possible times to make your life a living hell. So if England wins this group, I won't be surprised, but I also don't think it's going to be easy for them to do it simply because they just have weird matchups to deal with.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about already, obviously, with Jason talking a little bit about these upcoming matchups, what we are anticipating. For me, if you're talking about a group death, Jason didn't say that there was one in particular for him. For me, I think it is Group I. I think especially with how everything plays out, when you look at the three teams that are in it, France and Senegal, you get the rematch.
Yep.
That's number one. You get a big rematch between these two sides, one that I think is going to bring a lot of fireworks. Norway is running hot right now with Erling Haaland. I think they're a side that should be watched. They should be very dangerous. And I think Senegal is too. And it's one that I think for me, especially obviously depending on who gets in from the UEFA and that playoff path too, I think that team might have some problems going up against those three, but I think that one is a group of death. I think that one is the one I'm highlighting, I'm circling because of the powerhouse that you have on all of those countries.
No, Maddie, I agree. And it kind of brings back to the Ghana point with Group L. These African teams that you don't really know much about. Obviously, you get the African Cup of Nations to really figure out what these teams are about. But when it comes to Senegal, when it comes to Ghana, when it comes to Ivory Coast, they're going to come in. They're going to be in shape. They're going to be extremely hungry. And I do agree with you. I think Group I is the obvious group of death, even with the playoff still lingering in hand. But for France and Senegal, you've got Norway. Obviously, we cannot count out Erling Haaland. But nobody's talking about Martin Odegaard, how important he is going to be for Haaland to be put in position to score the goals. So we all know that he can. I don't think that we can go, you can't go this entire summer without mentioning Haaland. But I think the most important piece for Norway is going to be Martin Odegaard, because if he's not healthy, who's going to support Haaland? Who's going to provide him the necessary service, the necessary balls that he needs? France, Maddie, Jared, we don't have to talk about them. We know what they bring. We know who they are. If they're healthy, they're going to be a juggernaut.
Yeah.
I still think, though, that Senegal could really cause problems, not just for France, but for Norway as well. But that 13th slot, that UEFA playoff could come into play. Whoever it could be, whoever it is, it could really turn it into a group of death. Who is the playoff between?
It's the Confederation playoff pathway 2.
Okay. Who are the teams?
It's Bolivia, Suriname, and Iraq.
Okay, so you got Bolivia, who could be, South America, already a power of its own.
Yeah, you also got an Atlanta connection to Bolivia as well. You got Efraim Morales too, making the big waves too, being a big part of that one as well. Homegrown here, now is in Montreal as well. But yeah, Bolivia is a side that I would love to see if they can come through and they can get through that Confederation playoff. If they could, that would be a fun one. Now, it's one where you're in that group and you're looking at everything you're going up against. You're maybe biting your nails a little bit. You're maybe saying a prayer when you're going up against those sides. But I would love to see Bolivia. I think out of all three of them, though, I think Iraq might have the best chance, of going through.
I agree. And I also think that with Iraq coming through, it also is another stopping point or a big brick in the wall for a France or a Senegal, because you got a team that has to keep playing. It's kind of like the playoffs. Or in American sports, baseball, basketball, football, you get that first round bye.
Yeah. And
you stop playing. You lose your confidence. You lose the mojo. And a team like Iraq, if they keep playing, they can keep that mojo, they can cause some problems. We've seen it before. 1998, Iran within the group of Germany and USA. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's why I think expanding the tournament to beyond 32 teams is why we really don't have that sure group of death.
Yeah.
Because right now, 4 years ago, we knew who the group of death was.
Yep.
Now, Jared, maybe you agree. I'm not sure if the group of death even is a thing anymore.
I don't know that it is either. That group I feels like it's going to be a pain. It's not even a death. It's just a group of inconvenience and a group of trickiness. Like I said, England's group is tricky to me just because some of those teams they're teams you would expect England to beat. But if you told me that England had a problem with all of those teams and like it was just tricky for 270 minutes, yeah, I believe it. As far as Bolivia getting out of that, if it's Bolivia, that's great. Because for so often we have talked about Bolivia as a team that exists in South America, strictly around, especially when we talk about it outside of South America, we generally center around La Paz, 1,200 or 12,000 feet above sea level. They're more than that now. They're more than just that team who would hold results at home, goes on the road. They got to where they got because they took advantage of Venezuela spitting the bit. Now they're in a position where they can make a World Cup, and if they get there, they're going to be a pain to play against, and they're going to be tricky out. So if you told me that, yeah, we don't have a definite group of death, but maybe that gap between what we view as those not S-tier teams, but like B-tier, maybe lower A-tier teams, and C-tier teams, that gap has shrunk, I wouldn't disagree if that's where you wanted to go with that conversation, because I think that gap between those countries has shrunk to the point now where you're going to get these games that are a little more competitive, a little trickier. Last time when they got into the World Cup in 2022, Japan was a squirrely out for everybody. They've changed the way they played. They went into that with more of that energy drink style German pressing system and made a run into it.
I'll ask too. It's a group that me and Jason didn't get a chance to highlight, but it's one that I do think is interesting. Group E. You have Germany, you have Curacao, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. It's one that I think is a bit of a sleeper, one that I think could cause some problems. I mean, Group C too, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, Scotland. Like, you have a couple that I think are a little bit more of a toss-up as to, I don't know which way it could go. I mean, Morocco, I really like Morocco. I said it to Jason, and I'm going to say it again here. I think Morocco is my dark horse of the tournament.
Well, real quick, Jared, I'm not sure if you saw, but when the draw was actually happening and we fortunately were able to skip Morocco into the USA group, we cheered here at Brewhouse.
Yes, we did cheer.
We were really,
as you should have. That was Morocco was very much that, like, who do you not want from that? Oh, Morocco. You don't have to finish that sentence.
Yep.
Yes.
That's who I don't want.
For real.
Yep.
Also, apparently, Maddie, you mispronounced Curacao according to Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, no, I apologize then. That's on me.
Yeah.
It's been a day, guys. I've been here since 8:30. It's
you don't. She doesn't
Noted
get it.
noted
I
nation,
get it.
noted soccer powerhouse Caraco.
Oh,
is what-
excuse me. I'm so sorry.
The great one stepped up in front of billions and referred to them as Caraco.
Look. This is on FIFA. You put the greatest hockey player who has probably been concussed more times than is legally allowed in most countries, and asked him to read a lot of names.
They didn't.
You gave him the
on a
worst
national-
pot
on
too.
an
You
international
gave him
stage.
pot
You-
four.
yeah, you gave him-
You gave him
Yes.
the worst one.
Mostly UEFA
Give
playoff.
him pot A.
You
Like,
gave
give
him
him the
one
first
where
ones.
he had to read
Yes.
all of those names too. You gave him the worst pot to like choose from, and it was rough.
He
Yeah.
was sounding him out the best that he could.
Hey, he did his best, and that's all that matters, guys. It's all that matters. But hey, you had
Don't
this
give him
morning
that
too.
one.
You had Croatia too. You had a lot of Croatia talking about Shaquille O'Neal deciding their fate as well, which was scary.
Yes.
Scary,
for sure.
guys. Very
Absolutely.
scary.
Absolutely.
We'll bring it up as well. We'll talk about the U.S. men's national team.
Okay.
Obviously, we look at their group. They get the UEFA Path C, and obviously, looking at the FIFA rankings, it's one of the best ones you could get out of the UEFA group as well. But you got U.S., then you got Paraguay, Australia, and then UEFA Path C. I think when you look at the biggest ones for me is United States and Paraguay. I think both of those teams can get through.
Yeah.
I think they can get through immediately, moving on to the next round. But it's going to be a fun rematch, especially since that's going to be the first match for the U.S. That's going to be against Paraguay at SoFi Stadium. That one already has a lot of fire in it.
What was the result of the last time these two teams played each other?
Oh my gosh. You're asking me to look things up, Drew. Oh my gosh.
I think that USA did fairly well against Paraguay.
Oh, very well.
And
we thought
2-1.
we thought Marcelo. Yeah,
if there's a reverse group of death to where the group of like happy,
Group of happy.
I think
This is the group of happy.
I think
Okay.
being an American,
I like it.
We are in the reverse group of death. Obviously, we've got the playoff game that is going to really round out the group. But let's face it, Paraguay, USA, Australia, they got to travel arguably further than any country that's going to be in the World Cup. So maybe that might take a hit for them. But, I mean, Group A down to Group L, when you really look at the schematics and the teams that are involved, could it be any better path for USA to get through?
You have UEFA Path C. It's going to be Turkey, Slovakia, Kosovo, or Romania. That's who it is. To me,
1994, USA played Romania here in America in the group stage. So that could be something to get excited about. I don't know.
That one is interesting too. I believe probably the front runner for me in the UEFA Path C probably is Turkey.
Yeah, 100%.
That would be the one for me that I'd be looking at that would move on and be in this group too. And again, it's one for I think Paraguay and for the U.S. Unfortunately, you won't see Miguel Almiron and Paraguay here in Atlanta in this one since they are in Group D. Unfortunately, but I think the possibility of the rematch of it will be really interesting, and that one is going to be a fun one to look at too.
Well, let's mention Turkey if they so happen to get through to be the fourth and final team in Group D. Turkey lost their last World Cup qualifier against Scotland literally at the death. So a team that is hungry, a team that is still willing to prove why they are here in the powerhouse of world football, they could be a team that could scare if they make it into the group, because I think we could all three agree, I don't think we saw Scotland getting through the way that they did. And it was pretty incredible. So that's why I feel that, this turned 40 last year. And with the World Cup expanding and no sure group of death, I don't see no sure winner as far as the group standings. I mean, we were really set up for an all-time World Cup.
Can I give you my hot take?
Please.
I'll give you my hot take. Group C.
Okay.
I think Morocco's going to be number one in the group.
Yeah.
I don't
know. I don't know if it's that. If I don't know if it's that big of a hot take either. I think Morocco. I think Morocco can escape out and be number one.
It is a hot take because of the team above them in Brazil. It's almost like blasphemous to root against them in a tournament like this. But are we going to see the same Brazil that we've seen before? We've got a new Brazil team, Jarrett, led by Carlo Ancelotti, an aged group of Brazilians, captained by Casemiro. I don't know what to expect. Are we going to get a healthy Neymar? I don't know, because we saw Ancelotti said if Nate is chosen, he's got to play in the midfield. He's got to play as a number 10 behind the attack. Is he going to be? I don't know. That's why it's so many incredible stories leading into, like we said, the playoff, leading into the summer.
So many.
Just so many great stories.
Yeah, so many.
We talked to Torres this morning down in Lima, Peru, and he was not high on Brazil, and some of it does center around the fact that Neymar is going to need surgery.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen, Neymar has been trying to drag his boyhood club out of the relegation zone in Brazil, but he's doing it while he's not 100%.
Yeah.
Neymar's not 100%. He's going to have surgery probably. That's a recovery process he's going to have to go through. He might not be 100% for World Cup. He might not be chosen. He might be brought on as an alternate, as a break glass in case of emergency kind of guy. And what is the personality? Was Nico's question was Nino's question, was what is the personality of that team? Because it doesn't feel like they have that same kind of gravitas that they've had in the past. Yeah, Morocco feels like that team. You want to get the squirrely questions going. How do Scotland and Haiti shake out in it? Because if you assume a less lethal Brazil can still get out in the second spot because the group is favorable, that's fine. How do Haiti and Scotland get through that? Do one of them pull a draw somewhere where you don't expect them to, and then start to become a team that might sneak through in a third spot? It's not a group of death. but I think it's an intriguing group for sure.
Really, it's an interesting one.
To piggyback
Yeah.
off you, it is a very, very
It's an interesting
group.
one.
Yeah.
It's one that I think can go many different directions, and it could be the one that we would be like, oh wow, wasn't expecting that one. That one I think is it's a funny one, but I'll bring it back to our conversation about the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, Jason and I talked about it before the draw was happening and everything, talking about everything going on, picking that roster to. But you look at the last couple of games, 2025, moving on to 2026. You had the ability to play at the Benzos 2 friendlies against Belgium and against Portugal. You're going to have your full roster. You're going to know who's going to play in the World Cup. Same thing with Portugal, same thing with Belgium. For me, I think the biggest thing that we all been talking about is about the fight for the U.S. men's national team. Embracing that. I think really showcasing it. And I think these last couple of matches we saw it. And a lot of people were, I don't know if I want to see the fight. It's a friendly game. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's a friendly game. I don't care. I like that Alex Freeman was getting in there. I like it. I like seeing that. And for me, I think, and also too, it brings another conversation about MLS and about using MLS players. And I don't know why in the U.S. it's such a down thing when we talk about bringing up some of those players, because you look at other countries in the World Cup right now who are bringing up high caliber MLS players, and they're starting. They're getting opportunities, and they're starting, and they're being huge playmakers on their team. Miguel Almiron is a perfect example for Paraguay. Like, it's one thing for me where I don't like the conversation swifting that, especially for the U.S. men's national team. But I like that we're seeing, I think, a lot of these players really step up and push the envelope and saying, hey, Mauricio, I'm here. I can do it. And I think he got a couple players who could. I think Alex Freeman's one. I think Sebastian Berhalter is another one that I would immediately put on my roster. Maybe not starting, but a backup.
Yeah.
You can use him immediately.
And Diego
Luna.
Diego Luna, for sure. And I think that for the U.S. men's national team, for me, I love Pochettino's insertion, and I heard Jason talk about this morning the night during the game, the intensity.
Yep.
If you want to have a chance to beat America, you got to match our intensity. You got to match the fight that we have. And for me, and I think it's still the same thing since 2018, that we really haven't figured out who is that true number 9. Is Haji going to step up? Is Balogun? Is Flo? Is it going to be him? Is Josh Sargent going to come out of nowhere and reclaim his spot at the number 9? Because we know what we get in the midfield. Whether it's Weston, Eunice, Tyler, you've got Weah, you got Pulisic on the width. But for me, is who's going to be that true number 9? Who's going to be that goal scorer? Because I feel that in the back, and again, I'll piggyback off Jason. If we can get the Chris Richards that we get at Crystal Palace,
yeah,
for me, another thing, Cameron Carter-Vickers getting injured.
Yeah,
big blow.
Yep.
Big blow, not to like the starting line, but a big blow to the competition that it brings to that center back position. I think that Mauricio is in good position for what he has to choose, and I, just like Thomas Tuchel, I don't envy him as far as
No.
The midfield choices are going to be difficult. You have so many players that America has to offer. Like I said, Eunice, Tyler, Weston, so many other young players. Diego coming up to battle, and to piggyback back onto Thomas Tuchel, Morgan Rogers, Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham. That attacking number 10 role, just like for America, it's going to be a difficult decision.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we've got a little bit of time before Mauricio
you got some time.
has to
you got some time.
that number 9.
You got some time, and who knows, maybe depending on what happens in this MLS Cup tomorrow, you see Sebastian Berhalter step up a bit more, and the conversation becomes a little bit different, too.
I truly think if he is chosen, he might be a dark horse to come off the bench. And really,
I completely agree. I think he's a weapon you can use. But, Jarrett, what do you think of that idea, especially looking at the U.S. men's national team and that roster and how it could shape out looking ahead to 2026?
I think what you want to happen and what happened are not always the same thing. One of the things I'm very impressed with is the fact that, you've brought in some of these guys from the MLS side. You're not ashamed to do so. But you're bringing in guys who have fight. You're bringing guys who there is a part of this that goes back to some of the halcyon days of the U.S. men's national team being an absolute bear to play against. Like, you want an analogy, like playing against a team that runs the I formation is going to run it 40 times a game. Yeah, you might win, but you're going to feel every minute of it. It's going to hurt. You're not going to enjoy it. But the difference being that now you have started to synergize that with the idea that you have game winners, guys who can pick out a pass, pick out a shot, and tilt the game in a modern way. You've had some of those guys in the past, but it didn't always click. Now you have a chance to make it click. And yeah, it becomes a matter of, hey, who wants to step up and do this? You talk about Cameron Carter-Vickers. He's probably going to be done because he cannot stay healthy at Celtic. You want a name to watch up there as well as a guy who he had 6 more months. He could have been a guy to watch to come in and make a move on that campus. Austin Trusty is also up in Glasgow. Austin Trusty has been getting more minutes. I believe he was Defender of the Month up in Scotland. He's taken that spot and he's run with it. I don't know that he has enough time or that he is going to have been consistently good enough to break into that national team picture. But if you gave him 6 more months on top of what we already have, I think he could have been in that conversation of guys who, what you're going to see from the national team, of I need guys who are going to come in the moment and just take advantage of the opportunity, because that's what matters. I really would love to see whether it's Haji Wright, whether it's Josh Sargent, whoever it might be, become that 9. Yeah. But what I want and what happens aren't always the same thing. And if somebody gets on a purple patch, guess what? We're running with it. I don't care.
And I think especially managing this group, I think it is pretty manageable. I think you look at U.S. Paraguay, I think they're definitely the 2 you're looking at that move ahead from that group. And again, it's like you said, Drew, as well, the third place element of it now creates a different idea for a lot of these groups too, especially being like, oh, hey, if you're the leading ones, the top 8 of those third place teams, they move on. That creates another element too, is like, oh, we can almost get a second chance. And it's almost... it creates a different feel as to going up against certain games. Like, hey, we might only need a draw here against this team, and that's doable. Or, hey, we need to win this game. Oh, okay, maybe that's not doable, but we can beat this team too. It creates a different cycle. And for the USA, I think that it's very manageable. I'm excited to see who Mauricio picks, I think, for it. Yeah. I think, especially with everything else, you will see, I think, a mix. And I like that you're going to see a mix. I really would love for Alex Freeman to be in that conversation, whether he's coming off the bench. And Berhalter. I would also fight for Diego Luna, too. I think the battle there, I will say, though, if we're looking at, especially with who you have, it's also, again, I'm shouting out my dad here for a second. Hey, Dad. And he's not watching. He's, I think, at home hanging out. But it's one thing, too, where we talked about it. It's like we can talk about these MLS players, but also the depth of it all. This is the first time, I think, ever, we actually have this much depth for a U.S. men's national team. Yeah. Like, we have this much depth, and that's a good thing. It's if you're Mauricio, you're like, oh, no.
At many positions.
Yeah, at many positions.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but the depth part. I mean, you've got gentlemen on the bench who start in Europe. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Eunice, whether it's Tyler, whether it's Weston, whether it's Pulisic, it is just something that, Maddie, you are so right. The depth, since '94, maybe the depth hasn't been here. I mean, even with Jurgen, once the first 11 came off, it was a prayer. Yeah. So yeah, I do agree. But one thing I want to say about Pochettino and USA, I think as far as hiring the right coach to get the best out of the men that we have as far as physicality, I don't think we've seen it like we have since Poch came in. Mm-hmm. Maybe we won't beat you in tactics. Maybe we won't beat you because we're the best. But good luck going up against us physicality-wise, especially here at home when it matters the most. And I think USA, when it comes to group stage, we've proven many, many, many times that we're a force. I mean, look at 14, look at 18. Unfortunately, 22, wasn't the same. Or I'm sorry, look at 14 and 22. 18 didn't have the magic. Yeah. But 14 and 22 group stage, ran into a juggernaut once or twice. But, man, I'll tell you what, we really do come to play every 4 years. Yeah.
Closing things out, too, I'll ask Jarrett before I toss it back to Drew before we bring in Jason Longshore back into the conversation as well. I talked about my dark horse. I think it's going to be Morocco. I'll ask both of you guys what you think your dark horse of the tournament is. And also, on top of that, dark horse as well, but also you look at Group H, that's the one where we could see 2 of those matches here in Atlanta, and we could see Lamine Yamal as well as Spain here in those opportunities. Drew says, please, please. We find that out tomorrow, and that's going to be a fun one. But I'll pose those 2 questions to both of you. Dark horse and exciting thing, especially seeing who could be here in Atlanta.
Jared, you want to go first?
Oh, that
Yeah,
face,
we can.
that
That's
face
fine.
scared me.
No, it's Alex.
Oh no.
He needs me to go outside. Alex, I went and touched grass earlier, buddy, but it was snowing earlier, so it's like 33 degrees outside.
Yeah. So yeah.
37 now. I'm sorry, I undersold it. I don't know necessarily that they are that traditional dark horse where you would 500 to 1 odds kind of thing. I'm keeping a weather eye on Colombia.
Yeah.
We are going to go CONMEBOL with this, but listen, y'all. It was snowing this morning too. Leave me alone. Give me a ticket. Let me tear my ticket on Colombia and see what happens in this World Cup. I know Argentina is that team in South America, and we talked about it this morning. Messi is a ruthless man. He is going to be coming for blood. He wants the back-to-back World Cup. You want to talk about a legacy that cannot be touched? That is what he is going to try and build. Spain.
He's got the supporting cast too, as well.
Yes, he does. Spain
you get a right
is
Thiago
going.
Almada too, stepping in. Woo.
Spain is going to be an absolute pain. They're a favorite for a reason. We don't. Again, Brazil, not really sure what to expect, but Colombia continues to churn out a good team, and I at this point am to ever pick against or doubt national team version of James Rodriguez. Club level, sure, all day long.
Does he even exist? Club level? Jared, does he even exist?
He does not. No, he does not. James is basically outfield version of Memo. When Memo Ochoa shows up from Mexico every 4 years, no one knows where he has been for the previous 4 years. He might have been in a closet. I don't know. We might have kept him stored up with the brave little toaster. But Memo Ochoa came out every 4 years and made amazing saves, and we get Mexico to the round of 16. But James is in mothballs for 4 years, and he's going to show up for Colombia, and he's going to do something. Yeah. And this might be his last shot to really make impact with that team as well. So Colombia is my team on that dark horse ride.
I like it. All right, Drew, what do you think?
We've talked about them all day today. And yes, they went undefeated in qualifiers, but I still think, and I'm going to ride the underdog wave. I'm riding Norway and Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard. I understand he's the best striker in the world. I get it. Nobody's going to deny or, refute that. But other than those 2, where do the other 9 come into play? So my dark horse is going to be Norway. And I think it was, who we'd want to come see here in America. Yeah. And, I'm biased. I'm biased.
Oh.
Easy for me to say. I'm biased. I would love to see England here just because I feel like every day of my life is revolving around English football, and the fact that most of my favorite players in the world are on that team. So that's for me the reason why. But if there was like who do I want to see? I would love to see Spain come over here to Atlanta, take over, and give me a chance to see Yamal live in a living color. Yeah. That's just me, and I'm talking as a fan here. If we're gonna get down into tactics and stuff like that, we could be here for hours.
Yep.
But as a fan, I want to see Spain come over to America because I don't know when they've been here.
Yeah.
If ever.
Yeah. It could be fun. Scotland would be fun. Another one too. Scotland would be fun. I think the beer in the city would run out.
Yes.
The beer in the city would be gone.
Jason said it earlier on the radio. They drink us.
Yeah, the beer would be gone.
Maybe
we get
it'd be like when Wisconsin or LSU travel for a road game and they drink the city dry. Because I think it was in '98 that basically, like, Scotland went to France for the World Cup, the town dry, and the French were like, "You guys come back whenever you want."
Please.
Doors all. You know what? Doors open. Porch
Bring
lights
those
on.
open, bring those open wallets in your gullets, and we're good to go.
Yes, absolutely.
Guys, I think we might be adding a third headset. If you want to stay on, we might make this a 4-way dance.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I just saw the ball
Killing it
fall.
with the wrestling references today.
There we go. Maybe.
Fatal 4-way.
Possibly, guys. Who knows? We're going to keep it going, though.
Safe.
We should. It's not safe. Things are flying all over the place.
I will say, though, I was very excited about this. Look at that.
What is it?
Black
What's it
pitch.
to read?
Black Pitch Coffee. They have a little tumbler.
Is that
is
that who was outside?
Yes, me and Sophia we love the logo. The logo is amazing. If you get the chance, it's like it's the coffee mug, but then it's like the goal. It's like the goal.
The 18-yard box.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, check them out. They're really cool. Their coffee was great too. But anyway, bring in Jason. He's in the corner.
It's me.
There he is.
He's in the corner, just
That's
hanging
him in
out.
the corner.
That's me standing in the corner.
Don't put Jason in the corner.
That's it. No, that's it. No, that's him in the spotlight.
Spotlight.
It is.
I love it.
You don't know the reference, do you?
I don't know.
Ha, ha, ha.
It's a little Dirty Dancing reference.
No,
Oh,
actually,
children.
you're wrong too.
No, you're both wrong. Both of you are wrong.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't know the reference, so you were wrong automatically. Drew didn't know the reference.
Well, my reference was Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts Jason in
You
the corner.
tried to make your own reference, but Jarrett and I were on the same
That
page.
I got the Dirty Dancing one.
This is what happens when you spend an entire 6 months in an office working with Jason trying to put together a black tie soccer event and sacrificing every brain cell in your brain in terms of sanity.
Oh no, guys.
This is also it's also at the exact same time Mark Richt was getting fired from UGA.
Yes.
Oh, dark times. All right, well, we'll keep it going. Obviously,
Slide down a little bit if you can.
Yep, we'll do. All right, with World Cup, as we're doing we're scooting, guys. Hold on. There we go.
That way I'm not completely in the corner.
I think we got it.
Yeah, we're good.
There we go.
That'll work.
All right. We'll keep the World Cup conversation going.
All right. What we got?
We'll keep it going. Just talking about all the groups. I think talking about dark horses, talking about those. One thing that we talked about that we didn't get a chance to chat with you about was Group E.
Okay.
It was Germany.
Yep.
Curacao. Ivory Coast, and then Ecuador.
Ecuador's an interesting one.
It's an interesting one.
In that group, Ecuador becomes I'm very high on Ecuador because of all the young talent in his position. Ivory Coast has always been a team that we've expected to do a lot in a World Cup, and they never really have. It's always been difficult for them to put it together when it matters. Curacao is a very Dutch-based team. They're going to play in 4-3-3. They're going to be very Dutch-centric. You've got a lot of players with a lot of good experience. It's a good, solid team. That group, to me, it feels like Germany, and we're going to talk to Johannes Schneider here in just a little bit to get his take on it. It feels like Germany should be completely fine. Who second and third is in that group? I don't know. Ecuador should be, but they've got to show that they can score some goals, and that's the challenge, right? Sebastian Becasese has them being very good defensively, but you're still asking Valencia to score goals, and he feels like he's played in about 75 World Cups. Yes. Yeah. He's your guy. And, I don't know if that is sustainable over a tournament where your average temperature be 100 degrees.
Very true. Unless you're playing in an air-conditioned stadium.
He will not be.
Which you won't, but...
he could be.
He could.
Let's see. Will he at all? In Houston. He could be in Houston.
Hey.
No.
He
Make him go play in Hell in a Shell.
Well, he could be in Kansas City, which... you don't want to be in Arrowhead in the middle of the summer.
No, not an Arrowhead, no.
That could go
in Philadelphia. You could be at MetLife. He might get a game in Houston. That would be his best bet.
Yeah, that's fair. You also have Group G. I'm looking at all the groups, and I'm trying to think of what we have in it. G. Belgium, Egypt, Islamic Republic of Iran, and then you have New Zealand.
Belgium got really lucky because I thought they were the weakest team out of pot one. They are aging. They do have some good up-and-coming talent, but you're still asking some older players to be their game changers. I think it's going to be more of a struggle in this World Cup than it's been before because of the heat. I think players are going to look older in this tournament. Belgium is a concern. But Egypt, Iran, New Zealand, that's very comfortable for Belgium. They'll win the group. Egypt and Iran. I mean, Egypt's going to be still looking to Mo Salah to do things, and he's not doing it right now in the Premier League. I don't know if he's going to do it next summer. Iran is very solid. They don't have. I mean, you're asking Taremi to still be the guy. New Zealand is just not all that great. You're asking Chris Wood to be the guy there. So all of these teams are looking to older players to carry them, and I think by game 3, a struggle. It's like what we talked about with the U.S. You're going to see the younger, fitter teams win games in the last 15 minutes in this World Cup more than we've ever seen because of the heat, because of fatigue, because of all of that. And I think the teams that have younger game players are going to be deeper in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they keep time the way they did in Qatar, where they kept it so literally where you're getting 11, 12 minutes of stoppage time. And then, you get guys like 35-year-old midfielder out there who's played 90 minutes, and then he's got to play an extra 11 minutes?
Croatia's another one of their teams, yeah.
Modric's going to get a nap. He's tired. Yes. Let the man rest.
Modric might not play 90-plus minutes. He might give you 60 to 70.
But you think Inter Valencia is going to run for 90 minutes? Inter Valencia, he needs his gold watch the same way you needed to give DeMarcus Beasley his gold watch for 5 years.
No, the only way Inter Valencia is running for 90 minutes is if they come to get him for child support again in the middle of a game, because that happened. That happened. He faked an injury. They had to try to get him out of there in an ambulance because the cops were coming for him. He might run then.
That was so fun.
It
wild.
happened. It happened.
Absolutely wild. Well,
he's gonna run out to an embassy.
Yes.
Not an embassy suites, like an international embassy.
I don't know if he's going to get an Ecuadorian embassy in Kansas City, so he might need to make sure all his bills are paid.
Yep. But one thing, I think you guys talked about it too, with the idea of the heat, and that adds an element too. The travel also adds an element too, because you're not only just going to the U.S., you're going to Canada, you're going to Mexico too. You have those elements too, the travel element of certain countries as well, but then you also have the heat, which is another added element too.
It's interesting with the groups. Like, I hadn't really considered that. That's a really good point. If you look at Group G, we go back to the aging veterans group. You're going to be playing in either Seattle or Vancouver the whole time, or LA. All right, Vancouver. That's a haul, but
not like it is.
You're going to be on a nice, comfortable plane.
You're going to be on a
They're
nice
not putting you
plane. It's a couple hours. Like, it's
They're
not
not putting
great.
you on a Spirit Airlines flight. You'll be okay.
Will New Zealand be able to upgrade from the Spirit Airlines, you think?
Ooh.
I think they will. I think they'll work out a deal.
I heard Southwest was...
maybe they'll get Southwest.
Because that's the other thing, too, is the added element of the travel side of it. We talk about the heat. We talk about that. That's going to factor in this one. We all know it is. Obviously, if you're playing in an air-conditioned stadium, it doesn't really affect it that much. But you're also dealing with the travel of a lot of these teams because of where you're going sometimes, of going from Canada to the U.S. or
Germany.
Mexico. Yeah.
Germany could go from Philadelphia or Houston. So let's say they're in Philly for game 1 against Curacao. Then they could go Kansas City. Then they could come back to Philly or East Rutherford. That's a decent bit of back and forth.
To piggyback off Group E, when you look at the teams, Ivory Coast, Ecuador, they're kind of used to the heat.
Yeah.
You bring a Group E outside for a German team that's not used to that, those sort of that atmosphere. It could get quite interesting.
Go back to 2014 in South America, where Colombia had an epic run in that tournament. Chile had a run in that tournament. The South American teams showed out in that tournament, not just because they were in South America, but because of handling the heat.
They're used to the elements.
It's like they're used to playing in the Brasileiro because of.
When you've got Thomas Tuchel already saying, like, we might keep our substitutes inside if it's really hot, you're already letting the heat get in your head and affect you. And that, to me, is an issue.
Yeah. It's why, like, you can't, and that's why, obviously, when the talks about the World Cup, especially with the heat and that being an added element, it's going to be an element, but if we're a couple months out now, but this conversation has been happening for about a year, maybe 2 years out still. And if you're still thinking about it, you're still letting it get in your head, you're immediately going to fail, especially you have to play somewhere else.
You're giving your opponent a
Yeah,
already
absolutely.
because they know that you're not confident
exactly.
enough to play wherever it is you are unless there's a roof. And I think that is going to be one of the biggest stories of the entire tournament. To piggyback on Jason again, where these groups are placed as far as cities and states.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
I think the other one, Scotland, Jarrett, for you, you look at the travel in that group. It's kind of tricky because you're going to play in either Foxborough or East Rutherford game 1. You're going to play in either Philadelphia or Foxborough game 2. But then you're going potentially from Foxborough to Miami.
You got two completely different sorts of heat.
You might have
unbearable Miami.
But the other flip side is you could get Scotland going from the Philadelphia or East Rutherford to air-conditioned in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, that part of scheduling is going to be fascinating tomorrow.
So that group is going to be really weird, Jason. So you were doing your hit being a professional multitasker.
Yeah, that's right.
We talked to Nino Torres this morning down in Lima. His very bearish take on Brazil was very much that Neymar's not going to be 100%. He's probably going to have surgery. You don't know what he's going to be. You don't know what that team is going to look like. It could be Morocco's group, and it could be Brazil finishing second. But then can Haiti or Scotland take a point off somebody and be one of those teams competing as a third team in their group, trying to fight through and see if they can make something weird happen? Not a group of death, but like a weird group.
It could have been. We thought that was going to turn into the group at one point when you had Brazil and Morocco at the same one. Everybody here at the Brewhouse, it was really cool. And that's what I love about this place is it's such a smart soccer spot because everybody, one, was ecstatic when Australia came into the U.S. group because that was the lowest ranked team out of pot 2. That was hoping for.
It's a big pop.
But yeah, it's a big pop for that. But it was also everybody like rooting for chaos Norway falling into a group to make it of death. And it didn't really happen. There's a couple of tougher groups, but no, to me, true evil group of death.
I'm saying it's Group I.
I think that's the toughest group.
It's the toughest.
I wouldn't put that by default. Yes,
yeah.
But I wouldn't say.
Do you think the expansion of the tournament kind of ixnayed an automatic group of death?
It made it harder for it to happen, but it still could have happened. I mean, we went through the scenarios: Argentina, Brazil, the U.S., Canada, Mexico were all the possibilities to fall into it if you got Morocco, Norway, and then Denmark's pathway in UEFA. That would have been, on paper, to me, the toughest group you could possibly get. Mm-hmm. And the only way you could get that was a non-European team to draw it. So it was on the table, and it was on the board, and we thought it might happen. It didn't. So you get the France group that is the trickiest. It's not like in France, I feel like I'm pretty good about getting out of the group, but they might not win the group. And then that
changes the second team.
Yeah, and that changes your road. That changes it. I mean, think back to U.S. Mexico 2002, where the U.S. should not have gotten out of the group because of the last game. They got in as the third place team, if I remember correctly.
No, you're right.
And then they got Mexico. Mexico wasn't expecting to see the U.S. there. U.S. gets in there and they get a game. It's like, oh, we can handle this. You could see some surprises like that with the third place teams coming in. I think going back to the third place teams, the wrinkle that adds, if you win a game in the group stage, if you win one of your three, you should get out of the group. I think 3 points will probably get you as one of the 8 best of 12 third place teams. Somebody might get in with 2 draws. 3 points is enough.
Yeah.
That hate, which makes for me that Haiti-Scotland game gets really weird in that group because
wins it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If one of them wins it and nicks a point off of Morocco or Brazil for whatever reason, even if they don't, even if they get with 3 points, that might be enough to get them through.
And that's the opener. That's what's so interesting.
Yes, I know.
About that one is that's game 1
you have
for
no
that.
Reason, both of them have no reason not to just put it in the 6th gear and make something happen because it's your best shot.
Yeah, you have to go for it big in that one. You look at some of the last games, and we do
tomatoes on the table. We'll be fine.
Hey, let Scott McTominay get his good tomatoes, and he'll be good to go.
Terminator.
But you look at the last group stage games in some of these groups and what it could come down to. the U.S. will get possibly Turkey. Okay, that's not easy. Paraguay, Australia could be a play-in game, essentially, in that group. Ecuador, Germany, the last game in that group. Curacao, Ivory Coast could be a play-in game in that one. Group F, Japan and the UEFA Path B winner, either Ukraine, Poland, Albania, Sweden. It could be Japan and Poland spot in the knockout round. I think you get some of those chaotic last games. Egypt, Iran. Like, whoever wins that is probably going to get through. That it feels like the winner could get you through. If you're Cabo Verde, I love that you get Saudi Arabia in the last game. That's win for them. And that might be enough to get them into a knockout game. I think they get out of the group. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. I think Cabo Verde gets out of the group.
Yeah.
I love that.
Can I bring up a really weird a really weird travel thing that we were talking about that was brought up in the chat?
Why not? Do it.
Group A. You're going to have a team that has to go from Mexico City to Atlanta or vice versa.
Yeah.
There are, okay, again, Group A involves Mexico. They'll be fine. South Africa, it should be fine. South Africa is a really weird place, like geographically. Like, we don't talk enough as a culture about how weird South Africa is geographically. Korean Republic and Denmark, Czechia, North Macedonia, Republic of Ireland. You think Denmark wants to go to Mexico City in the middle of summer?
Now, here's what we know about Group A, and this one is a little unique, and I'm not sure if you guys touched on it.
Or Guadalajara.
We do know that schedule a little bit better because it's got Mexico already set into places. So we know that the 18th game here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it's going to be South Africa against one of Denmark, Czechia, Ireland, or North Macedonia. Whoever comes out of the UEFA Path D is going to play South Africa here. And look, that's really cool. You're going to get South Africa. Now, they're the ones who draw that short straw, Jarrett. They got to go from the Estadio Azteca on June 11th. A week later, come here to play a European team at ends. It is going to be air conditioned. It'll be nice for them. South Africa and their connections to Atlanta on a soccer sense. It's really cool that one happens because of the Kaiser Chiefs, because of Kaiser Motong, because of those stories from the old Atlanta Chiefs days. You're going to get South Africa and probably players who have played for the Kaiser Chiefs coming play in Atlanta. That's going to be a really special game in the group stage for Atlanta. I think that could be a really cool day.
Yeah, that's a cool one. That's a really cool one. And,
for the record, the reason I bring that up for South Africa, there are parts of South Africa that are actually a half mile to a mile above sea level. I think they will be better suited for that altitude than some of the other teams will, because it's not just the heat when you're in Mexico City. It's the fact that you're playing above a mile above the ground. Yeah. And that's those games where we talk about, when you go to Denver, when you talk about La Paz, anything like that, it's, talking to former players, the problem so often isn't that you can't breathe. It's that you get middle late of those games. When you take a breath, it just feels like your lungs aren't filling. Like you're breathing and you're just not getting air in your lungs. And that is just such it's such an exhausting feeling. And and if that's your first or second game, you're going to have to deal with the after effects of that in your next game. Yeah. And that is where it's going to get tricky for some of these teams.
You do, at least in South Africa's case, you get a week. It's not shorter. It's not short like it's been at times. It's a full week, which will help you a little bit. The other one, Canada's group, is really funky because of Canada doing this to themselves, playing in Toronto and in Vancouver. You're going to go from, if you're Switzerland, for example, you're going to go from game one playing Qatar in Santa Clara. No, I'm sorry. They're okay. It's Canada who draws their own short straw. Canada plays in Toronto in game one. Then they go to Vancouver to play Qatar. Then they stay in game two.
Well, before we continue the conversation, we have
a
someone else jumping in, a special guest. Johannes Schneider. Repping the jersey. I love it.
He's already ready to go.
World Cup mode, baby. Draw day. Had to represent.
So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, how do you feel
about Germany's draw?
It could have been worse. I think I feel all right. I think obviously Curacao, total unknown for myself. and I think for a lot of German fans, but Ivory Coast and Ecuador, two formidable teams. But I think if Germany plays to their standards, you would expect that Germany would top the group going forward.
Mm-hmm. What is, especially in the build up to it, how do you think Germany, especially looking at the World Cup, what do you think chances are, and how do you think everything's shaping out before we get to 2026?
Yeah, I think the team overall has been, a little bit back and forth. Probably would be the right term during qualification. Obviously, the stumble there at the beginning against Slovakia, but then made up for it with 5 straight wins, and I think 5 clean sheets as well. So defensive side has been, I think, a big focus for Julian Nagelsmann and his team, and so. I think now that you know that you're in, you don't have to go through the playoff in March. I think you'll have a little bit more focus now for the team to really try to find, the best 24, 25, 26 players that I think can go through. Obviously, with the squad like Germany, you have a lot of options, and there's still a lot of time to go until you have to name that roster. So this will be one of those rosters where I think you may know 15, 16 come March, April, but I think there'll be some spots up for grabs going forward.
It's like the big question for Germany is going to be Jamal Musiala and getting back. What's the latest on him and his recovery from that awful injury we saw at the Benz back in the summer?
Yeah, obviously very tough to see, to see right here. But I think the prognosis is pretty good. I've been seeing photos and videos of him running back on the grass with Bayern. I think the expectation all along was that he would be taking the recovery all the way until after the German winter break. So I think that is currently what the hope is at the club level that he can come back potentially in January. And look, if he finds the form that he has, I think it might be a blessing in disguise for the national team, because he will only have 6 months of of soccer in his legs instead of 12 months like most of these other players. So if he can really find the form, I think Musiala will really obviously be one of the standout players for the squad.
Drew, go ahead.
Are you? Excuse me. Now it's a different era, different German team. We're talking about Musiala coming back. What is the confidence that you have in Julian Nagelsmann leading this German team into the World Cup? We saw him with Bayern and struggle a little bit as a coach in England, European football. What do you feel about his transition into international coaching as far as leading the Germans into 2026?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised at how well his transition has gone. I thought it was a little bit of a surprise appointment when they selected him. I did not think that he was maybe kind of ready for national team and international football. I really thought that he would just be able to find another club in Europe, and probably one of the top clubs in Europe, coach. But I've been pleasantly surprised at the kind of enthusiasm and everything that he's brought to the squad. We saw it in the Euros. Obviously, they were at home, so there was big emphasis from the federation and from him as well. But he has that ability to really galvanize the team and galvanize the squad. And we all know that if Germany plays well, the whole country will get behind them. And so I have no doubt that with 2, 3, 4 weeks preparation, this will be a guy that can really put this team together. And maybe not. I don't think we'll be one of the top favorites, but I think that the Germans will like being in maybe that second group, and then maybe try to surprise some people in the World Cup.
We'll go ahead and send it to Jared. Anything you got for Johannes Schneider?
Yes, first off, hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Jared.
For those who only keep up with Germany and other national teams like once every 4 years, who would you say are some under-the-radar names on that national team that people need to keep an eye out for that they might not know right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's going to be very interesting to see what I think the spine of the team will look like. I think one of the guys that maybe not as many people follow is center back Nico Schlotterbeck from Dortmund. He's a left-footed center back. We all know. I think every club team and every national team is really looking and begging for that left-footed center back. And this guy. I mean, this guy's one of the best passers at center back. So he is going to be, I think, vitally important to not only defend but also kind of help open up the game and open up what Nagelsmann wants the team to play with. I think in the center of the pitch, it's going to be obviously interesting. We've had this question now for 2 years. Joshua Kimmich, is he going to play in the center midfield? Is he going to play right back? That's one of the big question marks for the team. I think in the center of the pitch, there are several players, Alexander Pavlovic from Bayern, Angelo Stiller from VfB Stuttgart are two kind of younger guys. You still have Goretzka potentially in and out of the team as well. So the center of the field looks a little bit stronger. So maybe that means Kimmich will move to right back. Up top, I mean, this team has got embarrassing riches, right? I mean, you got Musiala, we already talked about. Florian Wirtz at Liverpool, is top-notch. Leroy Sané has come back in the team, had an amazing last 2 games to really help the team qualify. Nick Voitemata, plays at Newcastle every week, and I think that's only going to make him better. He is going to probably be one of the standout players for this team. If he has a good World Cup and if he scores goals, this team is going to go far. I have no doubt about that. But I think obviously the great thing about Germany is that it's not going to just be the starting 11. It's going to be 15, 20 guys that will probably contribute, at one point or another. And so it'll be very interesting to see also the kind of mixture that Nagelsmann will bring to the World Cup. I think you could go kind of very veteran-laden, but knowing him and knowing the things that he did at Leipzig and even at Bayern, I feel like that there might be a couple of really young kids that he will bring onto the team. And, you never know, right? Nobody knew Thomas Müller in 2010. And look at what he turned into, right? So is Lennart Kahl at Bayern, is he maybe that next guy?
I was going to ask you about him, yep.
Said Al-Mala at Cologne. This guy is a fast, tricky winger. He actually reminds me a little bit of a right-footed Leroy Sané just 10 years ago when he was lightning fast. So there's definitely young guys that are pushing the team, and I think we might see a few surprises come selection time.
Love it. And I'll ask too, when you look at the Group E, is there a specific matchup for you that Germany that you think is one that I wouldn't say worried, but one of the matchups that you're definitely circling, especially with it could go either way or it might be one of the toughest matchups group? Is there a specific one that you're eyeing?
Yeah, I'm definitely eyeing Ecuador, and that's going to be obviously the third game. So I'm really hoping that we will have, we'll be going into that with 6 points and not needing something, because I think that's going to be one of those teams that maybe not a lot of Germans have followed Ecuador or really know a lot of their players, but you just got to look at their qualifying, second place in South America, and that should be warning enough, I think, for everybody. To be on their radar. So, you really obviously got to take care of Curacao, and I think got to take care of Ivory Coast. I would definitely rank those below Ecuador, and so could obviously be a very interesting game, potentially for the group winner in that particular matchup.
Is that one, before I'll jump to you guys for any others, is that one too with Curacao, especially with them being the smallest country to qualify, but also a little bit unknown to a lot of people.
Is
that one of those where maybe it is a wild card? You don't know.
A little scary.
A little scary.
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, the Dutch connections will be very well known to a lot of people. But yeah, I'm actually going to be very curious to see who they're able to find between now and the World Cup. Right. Obviously, now that everybody knows that they've qualified and they're in a good group. You never know what dual nationals might be able to suit up for Curacao. So I'm not exactly sure how their roster looks, but look, at the end of the day, we have 4 stars for a reason, and so I think that should be one of those things that we go on and really have no problem with Curacao.
That's a flex.
Wow.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it, Johannes. Okay, I've got a question for you before we let you go. You saw the rest of the draw. I need one bold opinion from you about how things are going to play out with what we've seen these groups fall into? A bold opinion, somebody having a bad tournament, somebody being a surprise. What's your bold opinion going into summer of 26?
All right, I will, Jason, because I love you, I will not only give you one, I will give you two.
Oh,
Ooh,
you're the
let's
man.
go.
The love.
My first bold opinion is going to be that France is in trouble. I think Norway.
Listen, I said this,
She said it too.
and everyone thought I was crazy.
I think Norway is going to be excellent and is going to be, really top. And I think Senegal is never an easy out.
Yeah.
And so I think that Group I could really be a very interesting one. So I'm curious to see. Obviously, you get the third place teams in now, so France might advance. But I'm going to predict that France will not win that group. I think that they will.
I feel so vindicated right now. I feel so vindicated.
2 or 3 if they advance at all.
Yeah.
And then, look, the other one that I had my eye on is probably Group F. Because I think I'm very high on Japan. I think Japan is poised potentially for a breakout. Maybe in a Morocco style from last year, maybe not all the way to semifinals, but the Japanese team and the players that they have gotten steadily better over time. So I'm really looking for Japan. I think Tunisia Tunisia is a little bit of a wild card. Obviously, we'll find out, playoff, another European team could be interesting as well. And the Dutch team, I wasn't really that impressed, if I'm honest, in qualifying, and maybe a little bit on the older side, especially in some key positions. So might be curious. I think Group I and Group F, we might see maybe a little bit of surprise from those two.
I can back this. I like it.
I
like
feel
both of
so
those.
vindicated.
I think France is going to get out of the group, but I'm with you. I don't know if they win the group because of the challenges that they have. I think they'll get to the knockouts. They just might have a different path.
Yeah.
That's true. I will say, for anybody that knows a little bit of history or has followed the World Cup, France is always good for one really stinker World Cup where they really just either strife within the team, strife with the federation. You never really. Sometimes they could be a little bit of a wild card. They've had now 2 or 3 really good ones, and so who knows? Maybe they're due for one of those where camp just doesn't really work out.
Yeah.
Everybody thought they were a favorite going into 2010 too. So, and instead they had a bus mutiny.
I feel like they're going to avoid that this time, but you did get some media reports last time out about Kylian Mbappe leaving the camp early.
You can't trust the French national team, man.
No, you can't trust the national team, the media, all the
you can't.
It's going to be interesting.
You can't trust them either way. They have a very Auburn-like quality about them where they're just going to subvert your expectations. Like, if you're thinking, hey, France is great, we're good to go. Now we're going to explode. I have no confidence in France. Semifinal run. Put it in ink.
Last time out, though, they kind of threw that on its head by winning it in 18 and very well could have won it in 22.
Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn.
Yeah, well, maybe this is your time where you crash out and Senegal beats again.
Hey, get me the newspapers in Senegal if that happens.
Go back and look to the ones in 2002 when they did it. Like that's what's so funny about it is you get a couple of those World Cup upset rematches in this tournament with Mexico and South Africa, with France and Senegal. That's going to create some fun drama.
You said the same thing, by the way, about check the Argentine papers if Brazil crashes out.
Oh, that'll be total joy.
Oh, wow.
Total joy. That's another one who a top seed might not win their group.
Yeah?
I could see Morocco winning that
I could
group
see it
potentially.
The English wouldn't be too upset if Argentina crashed out either.
That's true. Not happening, though.
Yeah,
Argentina got a really easy group.
They got a really easy group.
I don't think Leo's going to let them.
No, they'll be fine. Johannes, we pulled you away from the important work long enough. Thank you for spending some time with us. Thank you for giving the German perspective. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Anytime.
We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Yes.
Johannes Schnapp from Atlanta United's communications team has been with the club for a long time. Big thanks to Atlanta United for sparing him for a bit for us.
I feel so vindicated. I want everyone to know.
No. No. Listen, like I told you when we had this conversation, I don't think there is a.
I'm the Brooklyn Nine-Nine meme. I'm the
no.
vindication.
There is not a true
R.I.P. Andre.
group of death in this tournament, but I think that is probably the toughest group, and I do think France run of not getting to win that group. So out of your top seeds, out of your pot 1 teams, and we can include the hosts in this, who in order of least likely to not win the group? Mexico, I could see South Korea winning that group.
100%. Are they playing out west or are they playing on the East Coast?
Mexico's in Mexico the whole time, so they'll get home field. I think they'll win the group. I do, but South Korea is tricky. I don't think Canada wins their group.
No, I don't think Canada wins.
I don't know who wins that group, but I don't think Canada does. I could see Morocco winning their group.
I think Morocco's going to win their group.
U.S. wins their group.
I agree too with that one for sure.
Yeah.
I think Germany wins their group. I'm not so sure on the Dutch.
No,
Japan wins their group.
I think Japan's going to take that one. I'm not.
I choose as well.
And it could be Ukraine or Poland as the UEFA team that comes into that group. Poland and the Dutch were very even in qualifying. The Dutch are going to be this is going to be boring Louis van Gaal kind of Dutch soccer. So they're going to be cynical. They're going to be boring. They're going to try to counter. Memphis Depay is like 95 years old. I mean, I don't think the Dutch Group G, Belgium, they are the weakest of the pot 1 teams were seeded, but they got an easy group. They're old, but so is Egypt, so is Iran, so is New Zealand. I think Belgium will win their group. Spain will win their group comfortably. France, we've talked about. Argentina will win their group comfortably.
Yeah. Look at that group.
Colombia and Portugal in Group K. Does Colombia win the group against Portugal?
I'll give a hot take.
Physically.
Yeah. I think Colombia wins that group.
I think Colombia too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Colombian fans.
I love it. We do.
Tonight.
Yeah, I'm not too high on Portugal either.
No.
I'm not overly confident in what they can do.
Here's my prediction for Portugal. They play Cristiano Ronaldo way too much. And he's dead by the end of the tournament.
And he's going to become a detriment to the team.
What happened in 22.
Yeah.
We're 4 years down the road.
Yeah.
Group L. England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. England should win that group.
England's fine.
But
if they're not, we're going to have a good laugh.
Croatia, that's the highest ranked team at pot 2.
Yeah.
They're older. I don't think they can keep up with the younger English players.
Second 45 of each game is going to be a difficult route for them.
Especially with Belgium just slowly creeping into the pot 1 right at the very end too. Croatia's right there. It'll be interesting. I think it will be youth. I think it'll be the youth will be the biggest thing and deal that side.
So I think what's interesting about this tournament because of the third place teams is that's like about half of the tournament that we said like top seed might not win the group, but I don't think there's a top seed that doesn't get to the knockout.
I agree with that.
Canada would be the one maybe, but again they're a host. They're a unique top seed. But that group, it's not bad for Canada. It's not bad for what they get. The play-in team that they get is...
Oh, yeah, Italy is in that one, too.
Italy's not very good.
They're not,
Italy's going to get there, and Nick is going to be so upset when Italy gets through.
There's another dark horse team that I want to mention that I completely forgot about.
What's your bold prediction, Drew?
I'd watch out for Ralph Rangnick's Austria.
Maybe to a point.
Since he's taken over that team, they've completely turned into a different country.
Yeah.
As far as playing style, as far as showing up. Unfortunately for them, they drew the juggernaut in Argentina. But I see Austria getting out of the group.
Oh, they'll get out of the group.
I see Austria finishing second in Group J.
I could see them second.
Can I say one?
For sure.
I would love, and I don't know if it'll happen. I would love to see Northern Ireland get that Path A spot. I think it would be so fun.
You got Northern Ireland, and both could get in via play.
Yeah, they could.
Which then
that would be insane.
You could have all. No, you can't because one of them has to play each
Wales
other.
Has to. Yeah.
Wales.
Yes.
Yeah, you could have had everybody.
Yeah, you could have had everybody if the draw had fallen your way in UEFA.
Give me both of them.
Plus Republic.
Give me both Republic of Ireland and give me Northern Ireland. Give me both of them.
It's gonna be fun. Starts to fall. It will be a fascinating situation when you start to project things, and this is what people are doing right now on social media. You're starting to look ahead into the knockout rounds and who could play who and what it could look like. The Argentina, they're looking ahead at what their road could be. They could see Uruguay in the round of 32. They'd feel fine about that. They could see Paraguay, Australia, or Egypt in the round of 16. No problem if you're Argentina. Then you look at a Portugal, possibly, or a Colombia. They beat Colombia in the Copa America final. Then you're into the semi where it should be either Brazil or England because you're on the separate side from Spain. So Argentina's path to the semi is very comfortable for them, which you would expect as being a second seed. Like that would be expected. It's
gonna be wild.
I still only see Austria giving Argentina like the stakes
a little bit
of any sort of challenge in that group. Jason, I think you're right. I think Argentina slides through.
Their group's very comfortable. The other thing that jumped out that I've seen as people started talking about it, Scotland have drawn Brazil in the group stage for the 5th time. Scotland had that many World Cups. The 5th.
They're not happy about it. They're just like, can we? They want to do something else.
Help us.
They got him in 98. They got him in 90. They got him in 82. Got him in 74. The 5th time they played Brazil.
Wow.
Look, Scott is that parent who's been dragged on the Ninja at Six Flags 5 times. God, I just want to do something else.
Like, give me anybody else.
So here you go, England, and they're starting to figure out what their pathway could look like. England's, if they win, their route to the final, so round of 32, they'll be fine. England is on a road to going to Mexico City to play Mexico in a round of 16 game at the Azteca.
That is going to be... You're going to have to put the entire broadcast on a delay.
Huh?
Has England ever played?
Yeah, they lost to Brazil in the 1970 World Cup at the Azteca.
Okay.
A Mexico versus England
right there.
round of 16 game would be wild.
England, Mexico, round of 16 at the Estadio Azteca would be amazing.
That would be insane.
Jason, do you remember watching the early day Arena Football League, like the old school AFL?
Yes.
Did you ever watch it?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember how they mic'd up the sidelines? Yeah. And like, when you would listen to the game, the audio would cut in and out every 2 seconds because they would pick up some coach dog cussing a player.
Yes.
That would be what would happen if you had England playing in the Azteca. The audio is going to have to drop out every 3 seconds because there's something getting said.
Here's another one for England's history at the Estadio Azteca. Hand of God.
Yeah, I was about to say, that was an Azteca. I know it was.
Yeah, hand of God.
Goal of the century in the same game. Where
not a 2-1 loss.
Yeah. The only thing worse than having the man score a goal in his hand was watching him dribble through your entire team and the bench.
All right, here's the thing with England. Let's say they get past Mexico at the Estadio Azteca, which would be an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal right now. Quarterfinal, if things go chalk, England and Brazil in a quarterfinal. Then the semi route would take them potentially to France. England's got a difficult road to get to the final.
That's rough.
And let's assume Brazil doesn't win their group, and that's Morocco waiting for them instead. That's not any better.
It could be Morocco.
That's not any nicer.
No, and I could see Morocco being there too.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I definitely see.
For sure.
Yeah.
Listen,
the England-Mexico round of 16 at the Estadio Azteca is wild.
That is soccer cinema.
Wow.
Man,
this is so fun.
We're gonna get.
Can we just shoot that in? Can we talk to somebody?
No,
can we go in and
You're
like, can
stuck.
we switch actually? They're like, why don't we switch?
No. That's what you got drawn.
Can't switch.
We need
All right.
tomorrow.
Close things out. Anything else on our minds for World Cup? Oh, Jarrett, what do you got?
No, I said one thing that people in Scotland wanted was to go to the Azteca because I think the Scottish fans wanted an excuse to go to Mexico City.
For sure.
Which, I mean, fair.
Yeah, fair enough.
Beer. Very cheap beer.
They want to try and drink at a different place dry.
they're going to do it in Atlanta, and it's going to be...
It's what some folks have tried to do here at the Brewhouse Cafe today.
Yes.
Before that happens, we're going to give final thoughts. And Drew, why don't you start your final thoughts on today's World Cup draw?
My final thoughts, excuse me, with the expansion to almost, was it 48 teams? The expansion to 48 teams, the pretty much elimination of group of death, and how open everything is. I mean, we had like an hour conversation about so many different aspects that could be of an outcome to group stage. For me, it's the unknown, the absolute unknown, and the excitement of, okay, if we lose tonight, we got to play here. But if we win tonight, we can stay. It just, I'm mesmerized by the unknown.
It eliminates that possibility if you lose your first two group stage games that you're out. It eliminates that because you could win your game 3, put 3 points on the board, and get in as a third place.
It makes scoreboard watch insane in that last game. It makes it insane, especially if you're any of the third place teams. You're looking at every other group being like, okay, you lose, we can jump in.
But then you might be basically on call waiting because somebody who plays later could jump you as a best third place.
You're like watching and just praying for a downfall.
You're just hoping the whole way through.
3 p.m. and at 8 p.m. you're going home.
Well, you could be looking 2 days down the road hoping that you could be in and then get knocked out 2 days later. That's what's crazy about those third place spots. Jarrett, your final thoughts on today's World Cup draw?
Like I said this morning with John, is, just don't. If you're scared, get a dog. This wasn't scary. Don't worry about it. Now we have fun where we figure out who's playing where. I'm glad Johannes mentioned it because with Japan, is, and Jason, we've talked about this. Japan has been in a style change for going on 8 years now. This is not the same kind of methodical, technical Honda level Japan that's in your daddy's Japan anymore. They're playing more of that gegenpress, and it caused them problems getting through Asia, but it served them well in the World Cup. They got through easier this time. Japan's not the same team you might be expecting them to be. They're going to be a pain. They're going to press. How they do that with the weather will be fascinating to see.
Maybe the best counter-attacking in the tournament, Japan. They're going to be in that conversation. I mean, think back to the last World Cup where there were games they had 20% of the ball and they won. Like, they're so lethal in counter.
And they're going to be fit.
They're going to be super fit. Fitness is going to be huge.
It's going to be insane.
You're going to have a Daisa Maeda who wanted out of Celtic, did not get his way. They are going to scrap and claw to try and hang on to him through this through the winter window into the summer, so that they can see if he does something at the World Cup, playing on that left wing or playing striker, is that pressing and counter pressing speed demon, to see if they can jack up their value even more.
I think for me, final thoughts. I really like how this turned out. I feel like everything is very, as Drew said, wide open as you look to next summer. I don't feel like anybody has a horrible pathway. I don't feel like, except for maybe England now that we go through it, it's pretty bad. I think that everybody feels like they're going to have life in this tournament. And out of the 48 teams, I think 32 are going to knockout round. There's going to be surprises in that. We're going to see somebody, and I think it could be Cabo Verde, who is a massive Cinderella, and everybody falls in love with them. Could be somebody like Curacao, who is going to have such a Dutch connection. They're going to be better than you might think. It could be somebody who's not even in the tournament yet.
Better than the Dutch.
Playing. They might be. They might be more exciting to watch than the Dutch.
Yeah.
The Dutch would be boring. I think when you look at this tournament, for me, I lean back to a lot of the things we saw in 2014. You're going to have the teams from this hemisphere have an advantage. They're going to be able to handle the climate. They're going to be able to handle the heat better than some of the European teams who might be ranked higher but won't finish higher. That's what I'm looking for out of this tournament.
It's going to be an insane tournament. I'm excited, I think, to how everything falls. I think especially with the draw today, there were a lot of groups I didn't expect. I think it creates for so much quote-unquote chaos, which is something that we love over here at the SDH Network. So drama, chaos, you name it. It's going to be like a little soap opera next year if you're in Atlanta. So it's going to be a great time. We're going to have all of the coverage as well on the SDH Network.
We're going to coverage here at the Brewhouse.
We're going to coverage here at the Brewhouse.
Brewhouse in
all
South
over. We're going to be
Downtown.
here all over the place at the newly location. We're going to be here as well. But once again, we'll say thank you to Brewhouse for hosting us here today for the World Cup draw. It's been a fun time getting the chance to chat and get to experience it all with all of you guys. So we'll go ahead and close it out for Jared Smith, for Drew Dickinson, for Johannes Schneider, for Jason Longshore. I'm Madison Cruz. We're going to say so long from the Brewhouse, and make sure you're following SDH on all of our social medias for more coverage on the World Cup, as we're only a couple months away as it comes here to Atlanta and to the U.S.
188 days?
I believe
Yeah,
so,
we're
yeah.
about that, yeah.
About there. So, yeah, make sure you follow us on social media, and we'll give you all the updates as it gets going. And, hey, have a great rest of your World Cup draw day, and enjoy a beer while you're at it. Why not?
Yes. Thanks, y'all.